Moving on to other stories. Experts in the agriculture sector have described the state of emergency on food security in Nigeria as long overdue. In this report, experts call for action and not just talk towards achieving the set goals and target. Correspondent John Felix completes the story.
On Thursday, President Bola Tinubu declared a state of emergency on food security in Nigeria. The directive was said to be in line with the Tinubu's administration position on ensuring that the most vulnerable are supported. Since the removal of subsidy, Nigerians have continued to lament over the rising cost of food and its effect on the pockets of citizens. But then, what impact will the state of emergency and food security make in its shortest possible time?
Now, this has been long overdue, specifically because farmers have needed interventions. And while there are interventions in the past, they were done in piecemeal. So while CBN is doing interventions for agri-finance in one end, and NERSL is doing interventions in terms of guarantees, and private banks are doing their own little bits that they can. And of course, we didn't see as much effective programming in terms of grain storage and things like that. You're now saying, let us synergize, let us actively work together. It's not about talking anymore. It's about making sure that we do what is right. I love the fact that the president is not reinventing the wheel. He is simply activating each piece of the puzzle. So when Ministry of Agriculture has to work hand in hand with the Ministry of Water Resources, it means that we're going to be able to leverage on all of our dams and our waterways and the irrigation systems that have already been put in place in those areas to be able to make sure that we have continuous water supply for dry season farming. It also means that we're going to work with farmers to coordinate them into outgrower models and make sure that government should be buying off a certain percentage of their produce to be able to store and be able to manage the prices. We have private sector companies who are already doing this. So interventions that work with private sector to continue to do what they're doing and make sure that it's market driven is also a better option for us. So we need all hands on deck. We need all players involved. We need the farmer associations.
It's a very good one. We have been expecting it because the Nigerian populace has more vulnerables and they're expecting much from the federal government. This time around, you see, there are a lot of gross misconduct and corruption in the area of food supplies to food production. I must confess to you that the issue of fertilizer in those days, it is within the ambit of some selected Nigerians, where they hawk this fertilizer to themselves and sells at a very higher rate, which eventually will translate into the production of a particular crop.
While trying to ease the pains of Nigerians, the president directed the immediate release of fertilizers and grains to farmers and households to mitigate the effect of the subsidy removal against other interventions. What then should be done towards achieving lasting solution on food sufficiency and affordability in the country?
It is about action, not talk. And so we also need to put in mind that state governments, local governments have to be carried along, but not just carried along, they have to be actively involved. So while federal government is saying that they're going to make 500,000 hectares available for production, state governments have to match with their own cleared land that is available. Well, federal government is going to partner with African Development Bank for the agricultural transformation centers, right, the ATCs. Then it also means that state governments should also do their own investments into mechanization. They should do their own investments into irrigation. They should do their own investments into making sure that inputs are subsidized. Those kind of subsidies will go a long way for the farmer, but in a smart way, not in a way where farmers themselves can sell off those inputs or engage in sharp practices, but in a way where we are using data, it's data driven, to be able to keep account of where the fertilizer is at all times, where the seeds are, how many hectares are expected to be planted, how many hectares were planted. So I'm expecting that federal government will be leveraging on technology, leveraging on the lessons learned from some of the CBN interventions, leveraging on the resources that we have nationwide, and also the willingness of we as farmers to actively engage.
It's only for Naira can be better. Is Naira can do everything, not the government. If government can make the Naira to come back to normal, everything will come down. Even if they open the border, with the rates we are buying things in over there now, the market cannot come down because we still use a huge money to take saver. The only thing government can do, if they can bring Nigerian money back to normal price, then things will work well.
President Tinubu has also said revenue from food and agricultural exports will be increased. Only time will tell how impactful this policy framework will be. From Abeokuta, the State capital, John Felix reporting for Gazi Television News.